Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. On today's show, Kyle Bauer introduces us to Dennis Schertz, an Ark City farmer. Find out why he switched to no-till over 20 years ago with no regrets. Next up, Greg Akagi brings us the Kansas soybean update. Then Dwayne Taves talks with Don Close of Rabo Agri Finance. Learn about the pros and cons of grow yards and how they fit in with conventional beef production. Learn what's going on around the state with the Kansas Farm Bureau update. And to wrap up, it's Plain Talk with Kyle and Dwayne. It's all coming up on Farm Factor. Stay tuned.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families and rural Kansas for more than 100 years, and we're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau health plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
In 1821, a trade route was opened from Missouri in the United States across prairies and mountains to Mexico. In 2021, we will mark 200 years of epic conflicts and grand adventures, larger-than-life personalities, and sweeping landscapes. Join us on an historic journey. The Santa Fe Trail lives on.
Find us on social media or santafetrail.org.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about employee safety and work comp coverage. On your farm, do you ask your friends to come help? Are they considered employees or neighbors helping neighbors? Did you know that you can be held responsible just as if it's a work comp accident? Give me a call, we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome to Farm Factor. On this week's edition of That's My Farm, Kyle Bauer is with Dennis Schertz, an Ark City no-till farmer.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer. I'm visiting with Dennis Schertz. He's from Ark City, Kansas, a farmer in that area. Dennis, you've been no-tilling for a very long time in that area.
That's correct. We started no-tilling completely and went cold turkey right from the get-go since like 1998, I believe, was the year.
So what caused you to do that?
You know, it was just one of those economic decisions that I felt was solid and sound and would fit into our operation well. And it has been one of those decisions I have no regrets for.
Most people that no-till have a fairly strong rotation. How about your farm?
Yeah, we have a strong rotation that centers mostly around corn, wheat, and beans. We do work into our rotation a cover crop, which is a cocktail mix of Australian winter peas, tubular radishes, and turnips. And that has worked very well for us to have a portion of our no-till operation into a cover crop.
So Ark City is south of Wichita. Do you have a legacy in that area?
Well, I grew up on a farm in the southwest of Kansas City, and that's still where our home operation or our home background centers around. Part of the farm that I grew up on is still part of the farming operation that I manage and operate today.
So your parents are there, grandparents in that general area as well?
Yeah, my parents were from that area. They actually grew up just across the border in Oklahoma because, as you know, our Kansas City sits right on the Kansas-Oklahoma border. So they were actually grew up in Oklahoma but had a farming background at that point in time in their life also. And so as I grew up and became very excited about being involved in the farming operation as a result of my growing up, that I chose to move in and take over part of the family farm.
So no-tilling that many years, has your farm evolved because of that? How you do things and or your investments and or the tilth of the soil?
Yeah, I feel we've made some real strides in terms of conservation practices that we do with no-tilling. We have less erosion. We have a better comprehension in terms of what our soil is capable of producing. And so as a result of the rotation of no-till operation and as a result of the cover crops that we use, I think we've added to the quality and the conservation of our soil.
Do you see changes coming down the road? Do you see this style, this system, if you will, being with you for quite a while? Well,
I think no-till is here to stay. And, it's just much more economical from a standpoint of an operating cost. And so I think it will be with us. And I've been very, very pleased with the results that we've gained out of no-till farming and look forward to the future. And I think with technology, we're only going to get better with no-till farming, and adding the technology that we have today to it will certainly improve it.
We're visiting with Dennis Schertz. He's from Arkansas City. This is Kyle Bauer with That's My Farm.
Thanks, Kyle. Up next, Greg Akagi brings us the Kansas soybean update. Stay tuned.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agamandkansas.com.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
My name's Karen Cope, and I have multiple sclerosis. When you have MS, on the outside you look great, but what's really going on in the inside is chronic body pain, chronic fatigue. And there's lots of days that I'd wake up and say, oh, please God, help me get through this day. After stem cells, Chloe, my youngest daughter, she was asked by my father-in-law, how's your mom doing? And Chloe said, Grandpa, I've never had a mom like this before. Because she was 8 when I was diagnosed, and she really had no other memory of me but being sick. It's really the simple things that we do as a family, like play cards, and to be able to win at cards. They all laugh because I used to repeat myself and say, what hand are we on? Where are we at? And it's just been really a true blessing from God, and we're really thankful.
This segment brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Doug Bounds, Kansas State Statistician for USDA's National Ag Statistics Service, joins us. And Doug, USDA has released several reports concerning the current state of soybeans across Kansas. Let's first start out with the latest crop progress update.
Yeah, Greg, for the most recent crop progress and condition report for the week ending October 20th, we saw that soybean condition rated 57% good to excellent. Only 11% was very poor to poor, and 32% was fair. 93% of the plants were dropping leaves. That's pretty close to last year's total and that 5-year average. Harvest had jumped up to 32%, which is ahead of last year that was 22%, but behind the 5-year average of 41%.
And Doug, USDA earlier this month released the latest crop production estimates for this year.
That's right. We did some acreage and production forecast. Soybean production, we forecasted 195 million bushels here in Kansas. That's 3% lower than last year. We're looking at about 4.54 million acres of soybeans to be harvested in the state, which is also 3% less than last year. And our forecasted yield is at 43 bushels per acre, which is equal to the final yield from last year, and down 1 bushel from our September 1 forecast.
And Doug, USDA also released the crop ending stocks report back on September 30th.
That's right. For Kansas soybean stocks, old crop soybeans, stored in all positions, we had 46.8 million bushels. That's 154% more in storage than there was at the same time last year. If we look at on-farm stocks, there's 5.5 million bushels stored on-farm in Kansas. That's 67% higher than last year. And then looking at off-farm stocks, we had 41.3 million bushels. That's 172% higher than last year at the same time.
All right. Doug, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg.
That is Doug Bounds, Kansas State statistician for USDA's National Ag Statistics Service, updating us on the current state of the soybean crop across the state of Kansas and where it may finish at the end of 2019 as well on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Coming up, Dwayne Taves talks with Don Close of Rabo Agri-Finance about grow yards and how they fit into the market.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, and we're glad to answer and work with you.
Kansans have a new choice for Medicare supplement insurance plans. With Medicare supplement insurance plans from Kansas Farm Bureau, you have access to 4 levels of coverage, affordable rates, and service from an organization that served Kansans for more than 100 years. For more information on Kansas Farm Bureau Medicare supplement plans, including rates and to apply, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back, and Dwayne is visiting now with Don Close. With the number of grow yards increasing, find out why and how they fit into the market.
Dwayne Taves joining him once again here on Ag AM in Kansas, and an opportunity to catch up with Don Close with Rabo Agri-Finance. Don, you talked to a lot of producers about opportunities and changes within the cattle feeding segment. Grow yards, they've been around for throughout time, but maybe looking at a new significance in the feeding programs today.
Well, I fully agree that grow yards have been around forever. I think there's a lot of drivers in the market currently that drive for efficiency, increased cattle quality, animal health, and really the lack of available labor through all sectors, but particularly the commercial feed yards, is providing opportunities for the grow yards that puts a whole different light on that sector than what the role they've served traditionally.
We think about the opportunities for producers. It may allow some operations that maybe are a little bit landlocked to add a new facet to their operation.
I think that's absolutely true, and I think that's particularly true for operators that have kids that would like to come back to the farm and just don't have the revenue stream to provide for a second income. But if the addition of a grow yard, the labor requirements for that is a great opportunity to as a way to bring kids home.
We think about opportunities within the industry. It obviously it changes some dynamics from maybe what some of the traditional grass cattle areas of the country have been.
Well, I think that's a threat, and I think the biggest risk there is we see more and more light cattle going into grow yards, it's obviously going to increase the number of buyers, increase the competition, so it could be price supportive to competition to the conventional grazer. If you look at the cost structure of a grow yard, I don't think we can adequately make the argument that it's cheaper. I think the conventional guys still got the lowest cost of production, but there's some trade-offs there that go just known identity of where the cattle are, increased expectations of gains and performance, increased control over animal health risk. I think there's some trade-offs to absorb that higher cost to the grow yard. But if you look at it as a threat that it's going to put the conventional guy out of business, I don't believe that's the case at all.
We think about some of those efficiencies you referenced. It's intended to be a seamless transition then from a grow yard into a typical feedlot scenario.
I think that's exactly right. And say if you look at the premiums we have today and branded cutout over comprehensive, or certainly prime cutout over comprehensive, it is the prime to comprehensive cutout today, $64 to $65. There is mega motivation for that feeder to feed that higher quality steer. If we have the known identity of the calves, we have those calves on a concentrated higher energy ration for a longer period of time. It doesn't mean that steer will automatically grade, but it enhances the opportunity for him to grade. That is one of the things the commercial feeder's looking for.
Ultimately, it's all about efficiencies within the industry, and the dollars typically dictate the direction the industry will go.
I think it's absolutely correct. The other thing is, as we see every time we get a new census of agriculture, we're seeing fewer and fewer grass and pasture and range lands, less and less grazing of government lands, and the amount of pasture is contracting. Is it contracting at a rate that's a threat to the industry? I don't believe that's the case. But if we do see more of these light cattle moved into a confinement program, it would open up grass to running cows, enable the expansion of cow numbers that might be a problem without it.
Our thanks to Don Close with Rabo Agri-Finance joining us on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Dwayne. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Okay, looks like it's time for our tour. Welcome to the Fort Wallace Museum. Here at the museum, you're going to find some really interesting stuff, like our replica stagecoach from the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. We've got facades from the fort buildings. We've got an 1870s flag. There's a plesiosaur that was discovered locally. We've got the Ray pump organ collection. We're a little bitty place with a great big story, and we'd love to have you.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Farm Bureau update.
My name is Carol Deaver. I'm from Finney County, Kansas. I was born and raised here. I left for a little while around college and then married a farmer and came right back to the farm I grew up on. My parents were always involved in Finney County Farm Bureau, and as we started farming with them, we became involved as well. A huge benefit that my husband and I have both enjoyed through our involvement with Farm Bureau, myself on the Women's Committee, and he has served on some other advisory committees as well. It's just the recognition that clear across this state there is such diversity, and we sometimes tend to get caught up in our own little area and what we need, thinking that's got to be the most important thing out there. And the networking and the camaraderie that we've found here in Kansas Farm Bureau have shown us that no, maybe our little problem isn't the biggest thing going on in the state. And so it's been very important to gain that perspective of what other people are experiencing and what they have to deal with, and kind of, you kind of balance tolerance and acceptance and understanding of some ways of life that may be different from ours, but the problems are just as monumental to overcome, and Kansas Farm Bureau can truly be there to help everybody. I think it's very important to have options in healthcare coverage. It's gotten to the point where the old traditional standard plans are just ill-affordable, especially for those of us who are self-employed. The Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plan pass was just huge, and I'm very excited to see all the details of the plan, and I'm looking forward to them being beneficial for many Kansas farm families.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families and rural Kansas for more than 100 years, and we're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about employee safety and work comp coverage. On your farm, do you ask your friends to come help? Are they considered employees or neighbors helping neighbors? Did you know that you can be held responsible just as if it's a work comp accident? Give me a call. We can discuss. 316-945-6733.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Let us help feed your family.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Dwayne are discussing today on Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk with the tricky Dwayne. No, he's not Dwayne Taves. He's the fella that when he eats with his fingers, he only does that if the food is clean. Dwayne Taves.
Well, absolutely. Why
not
would you,
that dirty food.
No dirty food. Just
so what would be an example of dirty food that you wouldn't eat with your
pudding.
Fingers? Oh.
Pudding you do not eat with your fingers.
I don't know. I've eaten the last little bit out of the thing. You don't do that?
You aren't the norm.
Okay, you've never done that.
I've never eaten pudding with my finger.
You have never put your
I'm
finger
here to say
down?
I have I've
now
scraped
I'm
the
really
little cup.
feeling bad about myself.
Grapes would be a clean food.
Okay, that's a clean food. How about the nastiest food, though, there is like chicken wings with all that barbecue on them, and we eat those with our hands. That's the dirtiest food there is.
Well, that are ribs.
Yeah.
Ribs
except some ribs are dry, rubbed and that sort of thing, and they're not near as nasty, but you don't like those.
Well, I'm not a huge rib eater, period.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you're like the only guy
I'm not
in the
like
whole
a
world.
rib snob, but it's
Okay.
like most of them just leave me
hungry.
I don't know, dissatisfied.
My wife does not.
That's a lot. That's a big bone. Why do I want to buy a big bone with a little bit of meat on it?
So it's about value to you. You just don't like the price point.
The wings are kind of a crazy poor value for what you get out of them.
And that's something. 20 years
used
ago,
to throw them away.
They couldn't give away wings.
I mean, they ground them into pet food, probably. I assume.
No, there just wasn't enough meat on it, and in those days, 20 years ago, they pretty much raised the chicken for the breast,
right?
And everything else was
which
okay, I don't want to say about a specific one, but a lot of that dark meat then went into things that were nuggets. I don't want to say Mick anything, but they were nuggets, and they were perfectly wholesome. But they had a way to. They needed a way to.
They would debone it and use it.
Right, they needed a way to sell meat that wasn't the breast because the only thing people wanted to buy was the breast. Now, the breast is a similar price to the legs and the thighs, which isn't very high.
Right.
And the highest priced thing on the chicken is?
A wing.
Exactly. Isn't that
We need
bizarre?
6 wing chickens. And in our family, when it comes to fried chicken, everybody likes the legs. They go fast. I don't know why. Maybe it's something that you can grab it and
well, they obviously like dark meat.
Well,
but you know why they haven't bred up chickens that have more legs, right?
You can't catch them.
They couldn't catch them. That's
They'd
right.
be too fast.
They were too fast.
Chickens too
Couldn't
fast.
catch them at all.
Your fact or fiction question of the day, Kyle Bauer: the weight range for the blue whale. You seen a blue whale in the ocean?
They're
large.
not in person.
They're a large creature.
Not in person.
Have you seen pictures or
Yes, I have.
video? Maybe
Yes.
even.
They seem to be.
They range in weight from 45 to 136 tons.
Tons?
Tons. That'd be 2,000 pounds.
45 tons, 90,000 pounds. You couldn't
That'd
even.
be the small one.
To how much?
126 ton. That'd be.
My gosh, that'd have to be as big as a submarine.
240,
you know, I've seen a
52.
lot of pictures.
252,000 pounds.
You know, I don't know much about the whaling industry, but if you were an old boy that was a whaler, and it's like all about the pounds of meat and or the pounds
Blubber.
of fat, and you got this little old 50-foot boat, and all of a sudden it's like, boys, I think we can do it.
Yeah.
So you throw your harpoon into one of those. How many ton did you say?
126 ton.
And there's got to be a lot of guys on board that boat right then going,
bad idea,
I hope
Bob.
he has that tied to his leg and not to the boat. Because, okay, you know, what that is so bizarre. It's probably true, but I can't say true to that.
That's what it says.
Wow. Even the little one.
The
that
little
is
one.
crazy.
A little
surely
mature
the
blue whale.
whalers never harvested them because I can't imagine how you would ever harvest anything that big. On the other hand, what's the predator to something that big?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Old age.
Did you see that deal on YouTube the other day where the guy had the fish? He took the picture of the fish and then threw it back. He threw it back, and the eagle comes down and snatches it out of the
fish out of the air. Well, that's real world wildlife for you, I suspect.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.